things: either step aside from the case or cut ties with her special prosecutor and former lover, Nathan Wade. So that is what is happening at this hour. And just a few moments ago here at Court TV, we got a hold of the judge's order. We've been reading through it, and during the break, I pulled out some key parts of it that I want to read to you now. So the judge's decision on page 17 of this order reads, quote, "The court therefore concludes that the prosecution of this case cannot proceed until the state selects one of two options. The district attorney may choose to step aside along with the whole of her office and refer the prosecution to the prosecuting attorney's counsel for reassignment. Alternatively, Special Assistant District Attorney Nathan Wade can withdraw, allowing the district attorney, the defendants, and the public to move forward without his presence or remuneration, distracting from the potentially compromising merits of this case." All right, so it's one of two things. Either Fani Willis steps aside or Nathan Wade, her former lover, goes bye-bye. So that is really the crux of the court's decision. And there are a couple other zingers in this motion we're looking at. I have with me family law attorney Jenni Brown in the studio with me going through this. Jenni practices in Atlanta, and you have been on the opposing side of many of your cases with Nathan Wade.
Yeah, in my experience as an attorney, a few cases along the way, we've had him on the opposing side, and those are all civil cases. And, you know, if someone would have asked me, I would have said he's a civil attorney. So I was actually very surprised when I found out that he had been appointed for this case.
Right, Jenni. You know, the lack of experience, that is what's so stunning to me. And I also think, I'm sure you'll agree, very offensive to the rank and file of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. They have a lot of attorneys. I am sure attorneys with, I mean, many decades of experience doing major felony crimes. And then here you have someone who maybe did some misdemeanors early in his career, but is known, his reputation is in Atlanta, he's known as a civil lawyer.
Yes, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But that means that he had preferential treatment in this appointment because of that relationship, or at least there's an appearance that that's what occurred.
Right. You know, because it raises the question, is this guy the best person for the job? I mean, you want someone to do their first felony case involving the former president?
Right.
You know, I wouldn't, you know. No, thank you. Jenni, you saw a couple other things as we've been reading this motion together. The court talks about how, and I'm looking at page 9, how in reviewing all of the evidence, and this is what you and Joe and I suspected was going to be the court's finding, that the court is saying under Georgia law, the defendant's attorneys fell short in presenting for the court evidence to have an actual conflict of interest under Georgia law. The motion is reading that this finding is by no means an indication that the court condones this tremendous lapse in judgment or the unprofessional manner of the district attorney's testimony during the evidentiary hearing. Rather, it is the undersigned's opinion that Georgia law does not permit the finding of an actual conflict for simply making bad choices, even repeatedly. And it's the trial court's duty to confine itself to the relevant issues and applicable law properly brought before it. And the judge points out there are other forums and sources of authority like the General Assembly, the Georgia State Ethics Commission, the State Bar in Georgia, the Fulton County Commissioners, the voters of Fulton County. The judge is saying all of them can offer feedback on this, but I've got to just confine my inquiry to the law. Jenni, what do you think about that?
I think it shows you that the judge is not happy with this behavior, right? We talked about this earlier, and we were shocked that it would just be a straight out, I'm not going to remove them from the case. But he's made a decision of like, look, I can't find that there's an actual conflict. I can tell you that this behavior is not acceptable. I can also tell you that the way she testified is not acceptable in our profession. And he even says that. He says, their lapse in judgment and unprofessional manner of her testimony. But what he's saying is it doesn't rise to the level of a legal actual conflict, but that there is an appearance of impropriety here, which is why he's got to make a decision, right?
Exactly,
Either
Jenni.
she's off the case, her whole office is off the case, or Wade's out.
Yes, and I'm so glad you said that. I'm looking at page 15 where the judge addresses exactly that, saying, quote, with these principles in mind, the court finds that the record made at the evidentiary hearing established that the district attorney's prosecution is encumbered by an appearance of impropriety. He even goes on to say, even if the romantic relationship began after Wade's initial contract in November of 2021, the DA chose to continue supervising and paying him while maintaining such a relationship. You know, he criticizes the loose exchanging of the money between them. Something else kind of interesting, Jenny, he really dismisses and says he can't really consider anything that Terrence Bradley has to say. At page 16, he totally just discounts what he offered as untrustworthy testimony. It was contradictory, not good. So here we're left with the defendant's attorneys, the court finds, not presenting enough evidence to establish an actual conflict that would force the disqualification. But the judge is saying this appearance of impropriety is so bad and there is such a stink here, essentially, that either Fani Willis, you've got to step aside, or Nathan Wade, you've got to go. Yeah. Final thoughts, please, Jenny.
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting to note there was a lot of testimony about this speech that was made and all of her public comments, and the court actually does say that the speech was legally improper and that it was not, you know, that's not what she should have done as in her role as the DA. But again, does it rise to that level of legal conflict? And that's where it just fell short.
Right. That's an excellent point. Jenni Brown, I'm so glad we had you here today. Thank you so much for everything on this morning show.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon.